Hey everybody, I'm Tim Ward and welcome back to Garden Sense. Folks, I had probably 75 to 85 emails pop into my inbox in the last week, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, it's a blessing each and every time we get one. And the reason for that is because it helps reinforce the fact that we're delivering the content you want, that we're answering the questions in a way that are not only hopefully entertaining, but in a way that keep you coming back. Folks, keep sending those emails. We absolutely love getting them over here at Garden Sense and obviously at rosensonline.com. Out of those 70 to 85 emails that we got, we did select 5 for today's video podcast. So buckle up everybody, let's jump right in. The first question is from William. Tim, is there a product that will kill Creeping Charlie weed? So for my money, when it comes to Creeping Charlie, you're gonna wanna use Bonide's Weed Beater Ultra. Folks, I've talked about this product a lot. I personally use it, and to be quite honest with you, last year I had a pretty bad bout of Creeping Charlie really start to come up over near my chicken coop and things like that, and I used the Weed Beater Ultra on that area and it cleared it right up. Now, Creeping Charlie is a tough weed, so even with a product as great as Bonide Weed Beater Ultra, I wouldn't necessarily anticipate getting all of it with the first pass. So you may need 2 applications, but again, I can tell you from experience, it does work. So head over to rosensonline.com and pick up a bottle of Weed Beater Ultra. You'll be glad you did. Question number 2 is from Jeff. Hi Tim, with the recent dry conditions in Northern Virginia, my fescue lawn has gone brown and I assume dormant. I was getting ready to dethatch and overseed, but I'm wondering if attempting to dethatch a dormant lawn will do more damage than good. Do you recommend watering the lawn aggressively and then starting my overseeding process? So when you dethatch, it's really important that the grass is actively growing. And the reason for that is when you dethatch, you are naturally going to be creating some bare spots because you're actually going to be pulling up some of the good grass as well. That's not the purpose of dethatching, but it just happens. It's part of the process. The reason you want the grass growing is because you want to give it time to actually naturally fill in some of those bare spots that you're going to be creating. So if your tall fescue lawn has actually gone dormant, it's turned brown, it's not growing, but you're certain it's dormant and not dead, then I would get really aggressive with the watering, and I would also put down Kickstart. Put it down once a week for the next 2 or 3 weeks to try and get that grass growing green again, mow it, and then go through the dethatching process, and again, you're overseeding. You still have some time, it's mid-September now, so you should be okay, but again, you really don't want to dethatch your lawn if that grass is completely dormant, because what is going to happen is you're going to create some bald spots, and I understand that you are overseeding, and so that hopefully it's going to come back, but again, you don't want to injure the grass too much and shock it too much. It's gone dormant. It's already kind of in shock. So again, get a little bit more aggressive with your watering. It's really important to keep your grass watered during these hot times of year anyway. So water it as best you can over the course of the next week or 2. Put down some Kickstart and then start that dethatching process. The next question is from Elizabeth. Good afternoon. I'm buying Barenbrug RTF but can't find how many pounds of seed I need to overseed my lawn. It is 25 to 30,000 square feet. So the regular application rate of Barenbrug Turf Saver RTF is 8 to 10 pounds per 1,000 square feet. Now you're overseeding, so that actually changes the calculation a little bit. And typically when you overseed, you want to cut the application rate in half, which means we're now talking 4 to 5 pounds, per 1,000 square feet. Now you said 25,000 to 30,000 square feet, you were estimating the size of the area that you were going to be overseeding. So on the low end, you're going to want 100 pounds of the Barenbrug RTF grass seed, and on the high end, you're going to want 150 pounds. And obviously, regardless of the amount of RTF seed that you want to buy, you can head over to Rosens Online and pick up everything you need. Question number 4 is from John. Tim, I wonder if you would please help with an issue I have with a weeping cherry tree. As you can see from the pictures, the tree is secreting a gelatinous substance. Would you please identify it and instruct me on how to eliminate it? So the gelatinous ooze that you see coming from your cherry tree is actually just the cherry tree's sap that's coming out of it. It's a naturally occurring substance, but what's not natural is the fact that it's leaving the tree. Now, there's really two issues that you could be having right now. The first, and probably the most common, is some type of a boring insect has actually, bored its way into the tree, and it's created a tiny hole, and the sap is, funneling to that area and actually leaking out of the tree. Think of maple trees when you collect sap for making maple syrup. It's the exact same process. There's a hole there, and what's in the tree is going to slowly leak out. The way to tell if you have any type of boring insect is typically, because it is actually boring inside of it, on the tree or around the hole, you should actually see basically sawdust. It'll either leave a little fine trail just below the hole, or you may actually be able to see what looks like little chunks of wood actually in that sap itself. So that's a telltale sign that you have boring insects. Now, in terms of combating the insects, typically we would put down in the springtime something like Bonide's annual tree and shrub. This is a systemic insecticide that's designed specifically to protect trees and shrubs from boring insects. Now, you can put it down now, but I'll be honest with you, given the time of year, it's simply not going to be as effective. But I understand that you want to take care of the trees, so putting it down now isn't too bad of an idea because we still have another 2 months or so of relatively warm weather. The other issue it could be is some type of a canker disease. Now, to determine if it's a canker disease, what you need to do is actually go up to the area where it's leaking and have something hard. I mean, you can have like a screwdriver or a knife and just start scraping away at the hole. If that wood starts to come out very easily, where it's almost looking rotted, then that's a canker disease. And the best thing to do for that is to actually cut it out and then leave it alone, because really we just don't want that canker to spread. So what you want to do is kind of dig out as much of that kind of rotting or dying wood around that wound and then move on. Now obviously you can put down a certain type of disease control products that don't really help canker, but what it is going to do is kind of help keep that tree a little bit healthier because it is in a slightly weakened state. So other things can happen to it when it's in that state. And then you just want to make sure that you're feeding it well. Again, depending on the type of tree, you may not want to feed it now simply because you don't want to spurn any new growth. And this is the cherry tree, so I would actually hold off on feeding it. But what I would do is I would put down something like Kickstart, which is really going to help strengthen the roots because you want to keep that cherry tree nice and strong. So just to recap, it's either going to be some type of a boring insect, and you can go ahead and put down an application of Bonide's annual tree and shrub. It is not the ideal time of year to be using that product, but it should help a little bit. Or if you have a canker disease, you want to make sure that you just dig out as much of that diseased area as possible. You may need to get a knife to really kind of scrape it out. And then again, put down some Kickstart to really kind of help that tree remain strong so it's not going to pick up any other type of disease between now and when it goes dormant for the winter. The last question from today is from Joanne. Tim, my lawn service has aerated and put down seed. The fall treatment 3 days ago. It is recommended that I keep the seed moist, but with the heat coming for the next few days, I'm wondering if I should wait to water until the worst of the heat is over. If I water now and the grass starts to sprout, will it survive this heat? Hey Joanne, so I can really appreciate the line of thinking that you're following in terms of, trying to process how to best protect that, sprouting grass, that very young lawn that you're trying to establish from 90+ degrees heat every single day. I totally get what you're trying to do, and I appreciate how conscientious you're trying to be of the heat and trying to protect that new grass. Unfortunately, you have to water that seed every single day for at least 3 weeks after you've put it down. Here's the thing, if you don't and that grass seed dries out, within 2 or 3 days it's dead, and you're not even gonna have to worry about protecting the sprouting grass because there simply won't be any. So again, I do appreciate that you're trying to work through that process, and you've made excellent points about the fact that 90+ degrees can cause a lot of damage, especially if it's consecutive days and not a lot of rain. It can absolutely harm your grass, but that's why it's so critical that you keep it watered. Now, in addition to watering it, I would absolutely put down Turf Trust Professional Starter Formula. This is a fantastic lawn fertilizer product that you can put down in your area when you're seeding and sodding. So we highly recommend you head over to Rosen's online and pick up a couple of bags. In addition, I would put down Kickstart at least once a week for the first 3, maybe 4 weeks, given the heat that you're experiencing right now. So you absolutely have to water. As soon as that seed goes down, you should be watering it every day for 3 weeks. Put down some Turf Trust Professional Starter Formula, and then absolutely use Kickstart for the first 3 to 4 weeks. Again, that really help it establish that strong root base that is essential to having a healthy lawn. All right, guys, just a couple final thoughts here. Guys, just another reminder that we have the Turf Trust Fall Feeding Frenzy going on over at rosensonline.com. I've said it a lot to you over the last couple of weeks, but it's an amazing deal where you're gonna get 3 bags of either the maintenance or the starter formula, and you can purchase those bags in either the 5M or the 10M sizes. So there's a discount on the bags themselves, and because of the dollar amount associated even with the discount, it's gonna qualify for free shipping. So you're gonna save a ton of money. You should be thinking about that 3rd feeding and getting it down now if you haven't already done it. But you also wanna be thinking about that 4th and final feeding, kind of between Halloween and really Thanksgiving is kind of that time frame for your 4th feeding. So take advantage of the special pricing right now and get what you need for your 3rd feeding and or your 4th feeding. Now, I have mentioned this product a lot. I've mentioned it on this show, and I've mentioned it a lot over the course of the year, but folks, it is still really hot out there. We're still not getting quite the amount of rain that we normally would, although I realize that there is some potential weather coming our way in the next several days or so, but put down Kickstart, guys. This is the best way to protect your lawn, to protect your gardens, to protect your trees, and to protect your shrubs by building up the root system. So again, it's a completely organic product. I've talked about it a ton, but we sell it by the case over at rosensonline.com. You could just pick up a few bottles if that's what you need. But again, given the heat that we've been experiencing, I absolutely recommend that you put down Kickstart. It's good any time of year, short of when the ground is frozen. So you really can't use it too much. It's that good of a product. Folks, thanks again for those dozens and dozens of emails that you sent me this past week. Again, I really, really appreciate it, as does everyone here over at Garden Sense and rosensonline.com. It means a lot to us, guys. Thank you so much for the time that you devote to us. We hope you have a fantastic rest of the week, and as always, God bless.